Stay here for 5 minutes. I thought I put this up. I'm going to tell you something that's not true. I thought I put this up for tomorrow. I'm going to get my tea and see if I can focus on the agenda. I didn't know I'd be this tired this late. You know, I'm not really happy with a rash choice I made today. You know, I had sold something. I sold a coffee maker. It still worked, although even if it was old, it still worked. Okay, what am I going to talk about right now? I'm aligning up Chaldean numbers. These are the Chaldean numbers. How do I know? A, I, J, Q, and 25 is Y. B, K, R. C, a G, L, S. So what we're going to do is we're going to create this alignment. I can align it by 3. I can align it by 4. I can, you know, here we have up to 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These are the values of each of these letters that are in the base alphabet. That's how I find them. And just like in our alphabet, we stop. Okay, you notice the R is on 2 and 1 and 2 with I and R. And in our alphabet, they're on 9, but they're outside. 9 and 1 or 2 is like talking about 8 and a 9. Let's see if I can explain it in my theory. Is that when you have a cube, this position in the center, just like in the calculator, it's the center position of 9. This dot over here in the deck of cards, should I draw out the deck of cards? Okay, when you have the 5 card, this is not really big enough, but anyways, the 5 card in the deck of cards looks like this. But there's not much difference because the 9 card looks like this. We don't have to change the position of 1. So the R, okay, resides with I. Same thing. 1 plus 8 is 9 and 9. So why does it reside in the 2 house? Because the base of a card, once you get to 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, they will all include this position. But when you begin A1, okay, A1, and then you have B2, and then you have C3. The only one that continues and doesn't need to be used is this one over here because it's inside the 9 card. Therefore, I do not need this card in the deck, nor do I need this card in the deck. So I save the 2 card. And this is why I believe that I and R go in the 1 and 2 house in the house of Chaldean. If you follow me. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add them up. 10, 20, 37, 47, 57, 62. So now in here, I can either put down, what am I going to do? I can either transfer these numbers in here as 1, 2, no, that's not what I want to do. I'm creating an equation right now to find the formation. And I need it to balance with all the numbers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a final number, 62, and then 29, 31. And this one is 22, 31, 41. The house is in number 3. The moon is in number 2. The moon spirit is in number 2 and number 1. This is the divided half world where the 1 spirit, where the 1 goes into the 2, more or less something like this. Here's the 1 and the 2 coming together on the cube. Nothing that I do. It's either here, or you can see it here, or you can look at Rubik's Cube. So it's already been created. So now we did row number 4 is 37, 38, 46, 51, 24, 38, 48, 51, 13, 27, 51. That's Mars. That's Mars. Fits right into the 5th position. 20, 40, 66. Wow, that's passage in Saturn. Mars is passage in Saturn. 11 comes 7. It's exactly what the cube calls. Same numbers. Reason for that is 11 and 7. We're going to just go the simple way. We have a simple dot. We're going to use a simple dot there. There's 8 around it. 8 around it. The total of those 8 is 40. The one in the center value is 5, depending on the equation. The total of this is 45, 1 through 9. We start over when we reach here. 1, 4, 7, 10. 1 plus 0 equals to 1. And then 13, 1 plus 3 equals to 4. So we start over again, except there's a difference. When every second number 1 that you get to will change, is not the same as this one. Let's say this one is up, this one is down, this one is red, this one is black. This equation comes from this over here. This design comes off a grid of roulette, where the number 10, where you can see the smiley face, the number 10 is in the smiley face, and all the red numbers are connected to where the X is. And if you notice, there's an X, a Y, a 1, 1, an X, and a Y. That's how everything connects. Oh, and I don't have it on this board, but there's a lot of zeros, X, Ys, and zeros. So let me see. So we get 66 over here. Here we get 26, 41, another 41. 41 is home, 41, and home, DNA, the sun. Why? Because these are words that go with number 41. Now, I'm doing this in a very basic format. There are other ways to do this. I can turn all my numbers by multiplying them by 3, or any number I choose, but any number I choose is going to have a residual effect, because I'll have to do it to all the numbers. So all the numbers are going to change, just like what I just found out yesterday, that 233 divided by 144 equals to 1.618. This is the golden ratio. Now, where did I get these numbers from? In Fibonacci. Let's see if I can find it. This is all the work that I haven't done yet. Even the reason and what happens with the CFL and the NFL, what and why it's like that. What and why it's like that. Okay, it seems like I don't have it in this book, so I'm going to try and explain it. That let's say we get to 89 and 40. What was it? 89 and 133. Is that it? 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, 55, 89, 144, 233. So if I take this one here, the one that happens before it, 89 divided by 55, see, we get the same basic answer. Forget about the extra space that happens over here. It's all, even if we get the next one on 377, so we're going to take 377 divided by 233, and we're going to get 1.1618. We're going to get the same formation. So the numbers are exact. They're telling a story. Numbers come from wherever they do, but they follow the same script. The alphabet is based on the numbers, so the numbers and the alphabet are going to alter stories. We get number 41. Here we get number 22. 22 in blackjack is to bust. The 22nd letter is V. The reverse is E. I like to always say go for 22, because go is the word for 22. The reverse of that creates a 54. Hold on a second. I just want to see what it is. Venus and Earth come together. Mars comes together, but it doesn't come together with the S. It becomes MAR, but no S. That's where AI comes in, where they divide the intelligence between the two worlds. The cutting of the tie on a death by the Jew is because of the division between the two worlds. That's what I believe. I've seen it many times. They call it aigu and grave. Or take me to the grave, Green Avenue, or in the house of the gear, or green or gray. So anyways, we get up with this scenario over here, and when we reduce it, it becomes 8, 4, 5, 1, 6, 3, 5, 4, 8. And the reason I'm putting a number over here, I don't have to, is I'm just continuing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then I'm starting over again. I don't do this in all the equations. I'm doing it in this one. So now they're going to 8 and 5 is 13, and 4 is 17. This one over here is 10. This is 12, and this is 17. Wow. These are the polars of each other. 17 and 10 in the alphabet are polars of each other. 8 and 1. And they also reflect the polar, the joint house of the same. 7 is a parent. 7 is a parent with the 2, while 8 is a parent with the 1. When you have 1, 7, you already know that you have 2, 7, and 3, 7. And I started to explain this before. I don't have any pattern of an explanation, but what happens is you have first, you have second, and you have third. You have gold, you have silver, and you have bronze. After that, it is fourth. This is what I began to say before, that in fourth, did I write it down here? Is it on the previous page? So you have 1, 2, 3, A, B, C, first, second, and third. After that, it is fourth. It is TH. The TH runs all the way to 20th. Yes, what I didn't explain before was in the deck of cards where the 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 all have this over here. Before that, it's the gold, the silver, and the bronze. And the gold is number 38, the same numeric value as the club. Just 1 second, there's having trouble with something. I don't know why. Just give me 1 second. Okay. Where were we? Gold, silver, and bronze. So gold and the club both have the same numeric value. Silver is known to place, and everything you do is you're always placing the gold. You go gamble, place your chips, make your wagers. So you're placing the gold on the table. So who actually collects? Is it fourth? So anyways, it's number 38. And what's special about 38? I like to say creation heaven. It's mathematically, it's created by 11 and 22. These are the numbers that will create these letters. 1 times 1, 1. 1 plus 1, 2. 2 and 1 equals to 3. 2 times 2, 4. 2 plus 2, 4. 4 and 4 equals to 8. C and H. 1/3 and 2/3. The same way the cube is built in 1/3 and 2/3. Although there's 6 sides, okay, each side has a reverse. So there's only 3 opposite whole sides to this cube. 3 opposite whole sides. I call it what I call the pole, north and south, when it's sitting down, and the ring when it goes around. So there's 1 full area and 2 full areas. This is the way I like to see this, 1 and 2 coming together, creating 1/3 and 2/3. So this is where I understand this a little bit better. And then when I go to thirds, I like to think about periods. And I think about 3 periods. So if I think about 3 periods, I have to think about number 84, and I have to think about the moon and Pluto. I also have to think about blackjack. I'm going to explain to you why. I hope I remember. Sometimes I have trouble remembering. I need to take a little bit of a drink if you have any questions. Hockey has 3 periods. The moon cycle runs for the birth, apparently, is what it's noted. I'm not looking at what is today. I'm looking from ancient backwards. 84 is the first numeric number to Pluto. 84, okay, is 28 days to 3 moons equaling to 84. There are 21 dots on this cube. It takes 4 cubes to create 3 moons, 4 and 3 DC. DC, reverse of DC, to where if you put the numbers together, you have 8 opposite 6. And the average of these dice on the 2 sides separating these dice is 6 and 8 to the 7th gate. And the payout and the roll that happens more often or has more possibilities of happening is 6 and 8, created from 2 times 4, 2 plus 4, number 24, if you want, or 42. And the odds that pay out is you play 6 and they pay you 7 for the spirit of 76. Just give me a second. I need my hat. I needed my hat. Just give me 1 second. My hat, and I have to keep my brain oiled. You know, I see it. When I stop talking, I start to forget. When you're on a roll, it's like, you know, it's flowing. It's a river of information. Okay. Be nice to get away where there's no sound, where I don't hear the buzzing of my computer. What most people think is normal sounds, I don't believe so, but this is me. I've heard silence before. So let me take a look at what's going on. I haven't checked any of the oh, I also have one other problem. Hold on a second. I don't know why I'm not getting my okay, anyways, let me just read. Magnet Club, Tron, Water, Fancy Game of Chess. Who created the dice? Okay, dice is static because, okay, now we have to remember when we're building a piece or a part, before it's even used, okay, we have to create, in order to, how do we get the tires to turn on the road? How do we know the tires turn on the road? How deep of so many questions. We see with our eyes what things do, and then we calculate how they do them. And then we rehash out and we fabricate from what we already know. So we're like building forward from something backwards in order to have the two grindstones working. We have one wheel in the center. I have one wheel in the center. When I turn this wheel on this side, let me see if I can do this. I'm going to show you here. Let's see if I can get this done. Now I'm not really sure if I should be doing it this way. Okay, when I turn this, right, this one is going to be going this way. This one is going to be going this way. This one, when I turn this one goes this way, that one goes the other way. That's the way it works. That's one way of working it. Now imagine there's something inside of here that would lock it. This would be a different kind of setup when it would go through this one in the center. And they both turn over each other, reading from one world to the next, creating a transmission between the two. And there's more than one, and there's more than one of these sticks. It says we need a minimum of 3 sticks on one side, and then we need 3 sticks on the other side in order to create this. And then we need one of these in the center that read in between, just like the cards. I need to read, although we have one here, one above here itself, we need one in between here reading the both sides. This one will transfer it up, and then it'll transfer it down, and another one from underneath, like the S, will be transferring. Now, what are we doing? What am I building? Why did I jump onto this? Why are there roadways, you know? If we're going to build a system, we have to understand, if we're spirits, if there's life, if there's God, how many people have prayed to God? I don't care who the God is. If you prayed to God, the God is a creator, that's great. There's a lot of us think the same. Now, have you ever thought of how we can connect to this God, creator, Lord? Have you ever thought, does it really matter? Do you know what human is? Because the concept of our creation, of our knowledge, creating words, human, what was it before human? It was grunts until we found the words, the right vibration that we can all understand. So what is a God? What does it mean? What is the definition of God? I pray to God. But what is the definition of the God? He's a creator. He's the all almighty. People ask, why is there so much havoc? Why is there so much havoc if this is such a great God? It's pretty simple. Is it not? Well, when you're on a ship, each man for his own when the ship is turned overboard. That's one of the rules. Every man for himself. Don't talk about woman and child. The woman and child get into the boat, but every man for himself. Him is actually the heavens of I am, because we're all gods. We were given the ability, and when we were given the ability, the first word was freedom. And here are the 10 commandments. Never 1 without 9, never 2 without 8, never 3 without 7, never 4 without 6, understanding that 5 is the heart. Never 1 without 3. Never 6 without 7. No 8 without 5. No 9 without 4. No 3 without 4. No 2 without 5. No 1 without 6. What are all these numbers? This is the cycle that we run right now. Our present cycle of 7 months and 4 months and 1 month, to where they say we run the cycle of the Christ Mass. Because in between here, they call the Christ 3 and 3. Separation individual that's inside is 5, 6, and 2, 3. 5, 11. The word is key. What I mean is there's a separation of 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. And here it's 1, 1, 1, 1, 11, 11, 11, 33, 33, 33. What is that mathematical equation of 33, 33, 33? Because 11 times 11 times 11 is 121. Is 1331. And 33 times 33 times 33 equals to 35,937. Divided by 3 equals to 911. 979. What is the gateway to 11? We cannot get to 10 without 9. But since 1 is inside a 9 and 2, 8 is the cycle of the moon, and 1 and 2 come together because we need the bronze, and the bronze is from silver and gold, making 1 and 2 equals to 3, making 3 strong, giving a heart within. How is bronze made? You do know that since we spoke about first, second, and third, first and second, if you look at it, for me, it's stand. If I'm standing on Q, on 17. But if it's going to be standard, okay, with 1 and 2 come together, it becomes standard. And then when you mirror the world, you put a TH, it becomes standard death. That is your A, B, C, D runner-up, where A is not like B, where C is what is A and B. But only A and B are not like each other. A, C, E are the only ones on the cube with the dot in the center. 1, 1, and 1. In A, it's 1, 8. With C, it's 3, 6. And with E, it's 4. Where do I get this from? I get it from the information they gave to us. Things we do when we go to school. Faces have 9. You want 4? Here's your 4. We'll create another block with 4. It's either this or it's this. On square paper, the artwork says I cannot draw a straight line through here, but I can draw one on an angle. So this one becomes the 45 Fox headquarters. HQZ. The reason for that is Fox is 666. The reverse cube is 888. Number 45. 15 and 9. 24. 2 and 4. The X letter equals to 6. 4, 5, 6. Federation. Also worth 1,000. Roman numerals. And the letter M in Roman numerals is 1,000. We have 15. Equals to the letter O. 15 is, we have O, and 1 plus 5 equals to 6. Now we have 1, 2, 3 equals to 0, 6, the letter F, and that equals to 666, Fox 45. It's 39 plus 6. I count this one separately as I do solids and stripes. Game of pool, game of darts, game of bowling, Monopoly, football, soccer, hockey, baseball. It doesn't matter what it is because this is based on ice, hockey. It's got 3 periods of 20 minutes each. 20, 20, 20. How's your vision? Remember, we're never going to say all 3 of them. We're never going to say all 4. It's 3 out of 4, 2 out of 3, 1 out of 2. The series in baseball, the series in other sports, how things are said is the way I run this. So we have 28 days to a moon. And we have 21 dots on a cube. So the second cube, I need to borrow 7 equals to the 28 days. I'm going to have 14 left over. So what this is it's 7 and 14 on a cube. There's around here will add up to 14 in dots, and the 6, 1 will add up to 7. So I call the 6, 1, 7, I call it the pole. And the 14, I call the ring. So now you have the ring and the pole, and these are your letters, G and N. 7 and 5. 7 and 5 also stands for moon, and I can keep breaking this up. I'm going to try and not widen this more than it already is. How did we get the 666? Why did I bring up headquarters? Because I was creating this image over here to show you that if I'm going to pass a line, where I can pass my lines, and this is how it works. So this one is 4, this one is 1. So this is a 1 by 1, and this is a 2 by 2. So the beginning is 1 times 1, 1 plus 1 equals to 2 equals to 1. Total is 3. 2 times 2, 2 plus 2 equals to 4 equals to 4 equals to 8. And that's where I get my CH, the beginning of my first two squares. I am 11:19. Okay, that's 7 minutes ago. I'm doing it. You listen. It's not in order. There's so much going on. As I speak, I'm going to come back to this in a minute. But I'm building in many dimensions at the same time. I come up to an area and all of a sudden there's 3 things going on. I write them down, I miss them, I come back to them, I start explaining something else, I'll forget about this, or you'll forget what I was talking about before. Just 1 second. I have to fix this little problem I have with I'm not sure with Odyssey here. I don't think my Odyssey stream is working. So just let me go back to Odyssey, to live, local, okay, keys. Stream can be reused. Okay, copy stream. I'm going to go over here and remove. And wow, I shouldn't have removed it. And remove. I'm just going to reinstall something, and I have to reinstall my Rumble. I didn't know it was uploading to there, even though, I don't know. Twitter custom. Stream key. Paste, and just give me a minute here. Copy this. Crazy computers, you got to remember so much. Your mind has to expand. Your mind just has to expand. Let me see here. Keeps telling me an error occurred. It won't let me do it, but that's okay. I'm gonna continue on. We got 666 because of that formation in numbers. When you run the numbers the other way, horizontal, you're going to get 12, 1 and 2, 3, 15, 1 and 5, 6. So you have CF, and 18, which is R. So you have CFR. I like to call it the seafarer when you're counting it this way. So when you're counting it by ones, it becomes this way. When you're counting it this way, it's the seafarer, 3, 3, 3. So we're talking about rolling over the water. When you're talking it this way, you're talking about 1, 1, 1, 11, mirror creation. 11 is the splitting of 1 and 1, 1 stick, 1 point, 1 dot, separation. Where didn't we go? So now I'm going to go back to, I'm still off the center, that because number 4, right, where 4th begins and it doesn't stop until 20th, we're going to go in the deck of cards where we can say, well, I have the 13th card, right? But they don't. They say the king is higher than the queen. They don't say 10, 11, and 12. So we have to understand that base, that once we get to the 11th card, which is the jack, 11, it now becomes a picture. See, at 10, it was a number, but it was an association because 5 above is 5 below. They were identical. Even to images, they were identical. No other card is as identical, okay, other than the ace. And wait a second, there's one suit that is identical all the time. The suit is complete, and it's the diamond card. The diamond card also is, remember, two hearts coming together. If you bring two hearts together, right, and you overlap them, you end up with the jackpot diamond. This is what ends up to be in the center, the green emerald. So you can see that the two tips of both came together. And what I like to call this is like this, is the way I like to look at it. So if I was to recreate something, I would have to be recreating that. And me, when I recreate that, how did I do this again? When I recreate that, you turn it to the side. This is where B comes in, where A and A overlap. And once they overlap and you pull these apart, you end up with BB from AA. When the house divides here, is this where gematria actually comes in? When it divides, you see it divides at 6 and 8, the house. And it's not me, it's the game of craps has showed me this revelation of what happens with the cubes. In the cubes, the dice, wow, can't find that too, eh? The house divides right here on 6 and 8. The outside of 6 and 8 is 9 and 5, and the outside of that is 4 and 10. After that, they have 11, 12, 2, and 3. These are numbers outside. They have special names for these numbers. They say craps. They have 12. But to get them, you need 66, which is going to be 1 and 1. And we know what this is. In the United States of America, they used to use root 66. Now, what they prefer that you use, and parts of it are cut off, and I don't know the whole diagram now, but some of the bridges are too low for the trucks and breaks up the roads, etc. So they built Highway 80. So it's ironic that 6 will create 8, but what it is it's 88. And the reverse of 66 is 88. And the reason for this is because the multiplication, well, it's not the reason for it, but one of the ways to get there is the multiplication and addition will create 8 or 80. So that 88 is the only number that does that. Where were we with this? Yes, so the dividing house is right here. So the number that is the closest together is this over here on the inside of the rest. And house planet is 68. And in order to create that, you're going to use 3 and 4 in order to create it. That's how close they are. Do you want to know why? Because when you create it, you end up with 68 when you have it one side or the other. The reverse of 4 is 3, 3 is 4, and that's your only pull. Everything switches between 3 and 4. Everything else is on the outside, and what's ironic is that number 1 is numeric value 34. The opposite side of the dice of 1 is 6, and that's 52. So if I take this cube over here and I put 5 and 2, it's 5 and 2, and what you're missing is 3 and 4, so it's 1 and 6 that create all the 7s within themselves inside the word. So we spoke about the BB, the AA, we spoke about 6 and 8, and besides that, it's DC, because that's what 3 and 4 is. It's DC. I'll get back to this soon. So when you have DC, you also have hot, cold, red, and blue. How is that possible? Well, because it's red hot and it's cold. And that's where you use these numbers. And what happens is you mix to make the right temperature. So you're mixing 77 or 68. You're putting together into the seventh gate, into waterworks, perhaps creating electric company from that, waterworks, electric company, movement. There's water in the air also, the moisture, right? So there's always water. We didn't ask about what the percentage is. So this is where we get 68. This is where we get DC. We have hot. The numeric value for hot is 43. We have cold. The numeric value for cold is 34. Usually with hot associates red. Usually with cold associates blue. The spirit is 76. The spirit is 67. We can use it this way. I like to call this the beta house of the blue earth. Only because, and some of the things I do are only because 4 or 40 is Mars, and it's a division. It's half of 80. Why aren't we working at 100%? Why aren't we working at 100%? We can look at sports and say, well, the playing field is the 100 yards, but there's 10 on the outside. We can also go 10, 20, 30, as if we were bowling, and end up with 60. And then the next strike, right, which would be 40, that would be 60 and 40 equals to 100%, is the same as going A, B, C, 6 plus 4 equals to 10, J, D, F. Because the change of everything into the TH world begins at 4th, over to 9th. It ends over here, so A, B, C equals to 6. The total here equals to 39, which is D, F, G, H, and I. Now, we don't have to count these, so it'd be 13 and 26. Now we're going to be splitting up the alphabet. We'll be coming with Mars and Pluto. See, the levels... I'm just hold on, 2, 8... 2919 creates 39, 3, 9. I'm just trying to think. 39, 39, 39. Give me a second. Oh, hold on a second. 2 and 8 and 1 and 8. Yes, that's what it is. And this is going to create 3 and 7. As 1 and 2 comes together to create 3, the reverse in number value is 8 and 9. So we have to regard what happens here, okay, is all going to happen from this number here. These two numbers, because this is your base before mirror, before we get to number 4. So that's your base. And in numbers, 15, 14, 13, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 20, 23, 24. When I use this one and this one, I have 37. When I use this one and this one, I have 37. When I use this one and this one, I have 37. But when I use these two over here, I have 35. And when I use these two over here, I have 39, 35, 37, 39. This is the heart of roulette. In numbers in roulette, there are 36 numbers, 1 through 36, and where you can also place your alphabet. You don't have to, you can move your alphabet. The alphabet shift begins in F6 is where A goes, and it ends at 31Z. if we do the 36 number, 360 degrees, what we're told is the circumference. Z would be in the 31st position, and 32, 33, 34, 35, and 36, and A through E would be on the outside. Like, let's say this would be the playing field on the inside, and these would be the end zone. It's like if you get blueprints to build something, you're not going to build it at the beginning of blueprints. You make the parking lot, and on this side, the exit, and then you put it everywhere. Anyways, so this is 35 and 39 and 37. It's funny in French that this is 10 and this is 10, 10, except this is in French, and this is also a Roman numeral. 3 Roman numerals in French. 28, the cycle of Ra, the cycle of the cube. This is the spirit birth in the sun, creation in the sun. Now, what's going to happen next is the minute you go to 4-9, okay, this is where the mirror world, 4-9 and 4-8. Pluto, the ring, the pole, buy and to sell are all in this numeric value. Pluto is the 9th planet to Neptune, but this is the numeric value. Sorry, to Uranus. Neptune is 95. This also will fit with Jesus. 47 and 47 is 94. 94 reverse. Another thing is, if you're looking at matter, if you're looking at energy, if you're looking at Christ, 77, energy, and Jesus, 74. What do you think the number to Mars is? Mars and Earth association, 1 for 1. Mars is number 51. But what's funny is this equation can also be marked as this. In Roman numerals, a 5 is a V. A 1 is not really a 1, but a 1 is a 9, and it looks like the Roman numerals. So when you do that, it can also look like that, equaling to 1,000. M again in Roman numerals. The next thing you can do with that is you can leave it that way. You can call it 4, 5, and 6, and you can call it the Fed. 411. You can also call it 4, 5, and 6, the Fed. When you multiply it, it creates 120. So I already know the minute I hit 1 and 2 and 0 together, or 1, 2, 6 together, I know right away it's the moon. Right away. 1, 2, and 6, 0, they all go to the moon because it's the diameter of the moon, and it's 1.5 times the day, which is a Mars number, equals to the moon. And it goes with Earth because when it's set as 15, it's 1/4 of 60, which is actually 1/6 of an area over here, because it takes 15 times 6 equals to the 90 angle. I like to make things like, I'm not looking for your school and what you figured out. I know this is a 90 angle, and I know 6 times 15 equals to the 90. So I'm working in 15-degree increments. And I know I'm going to ask myself that question. Is it 15 minutes? It could be football, 15 minutes, or it could be hockey, and it's the intermission. Because basketball is 12 minutes. 12 versus the 15, and believe it or not, they are polarities in the alphabet. The entire polarity alphabet equals to 27. So here, 15 times 6, and it's a numeric value that they're both 6s, completing in their own Pythagorean fashion. If I add it up to a single digit, this would equal to 1 and 5, 6. 6 by 6 is 36, and everything that's 36 for me is a round. 180 and less, it's half. And this is 180, and I like to call the house of Ra 180, and it's represented in the nickel. And the nickel is where Mars fits at area 51, although it's the 4th planet. When 4 come together with 1, it sits over here. 4 and 1 is the 5 key. It's one area in the 5 position. Mars is number 51. Everything seems to be rotating against Mars. 4 here, create a window. 4 here, create 2 windows. 4 here, create 3 windows. 4 here, create 4 windows. Here's a 7. here's a 19, and here's 23. 9, 17, 23. And then 6 and 5, 11. So this is, and everything connects to number 5. So we have 9, 10, 11, 12. We have 9. Let me write this down. So we have 4, 7, 8, 5. Then we have 1, 2, 1, 2, 4, 5. And then we have 2, 3, 5, 6. By the way, 2, 3 creates 5 and 6. And then we have 5, 6, 8, and 9, 17 equals to 28. 11 and 5 equals to 16. I already know that's purple. We already got purple in this. The 12 ball and the 4 ball equals to the 16 ball, equals to 16. When I have that combination come together, I look at the game of pool. It's also noted to be the half-life. The reason for that is there's a difference of 12, and I have the 16, so I know that 4 creates it. And it's 7 times 4 and 4 by 4, which will bring back the mathematics for these numbers, the equation that fits with it, that brings two numbers closer together. That's what I look for. This one over here is 9, 10, 11, 12, and this is 13 and 11 equals to 23. That's a little weird. 11 and 13 is equal to 24. So we end up with 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 1, 7, 3, 6, 1763. I'm just trying to see if there's any other equations that are in here. 28, 38, 44, 54, 55, 56, 66, 76, 80. Okay. I'm trying to understand. We never have 100. I spoke about that before. Why don't we ever have more? Like the clock is 60, but we don't have any more than 80. I'm trying to understand that. 80 and 10. The French language never says 80. They say 4 times 20. The highest number in French is actually 69, because when you get to the 70s, they say 60 plus 10. So the highest number in 2 words is 69, because after that it's said like this. 80 is 4 times 20, and 90 is 4 times 20 plus the 10. So if we were looking in this denomination, I know I'm jumping all over the place. If we were looking at 69 was the last number, we would have to note it that 1 through 34 and 1 through 34 would leave number 35 as the last separating number. Okay, so noted that this is the last separating number. Just 1 second, I want to take that message, is that the center of these cubes, because the opposites are all 7, that would mean 1 and 6 equals to 7. So what's the center? 1 plus 2.5 equals to 3.5 plus 2.5 equals to 6. 5 and 2 is Earth. When we're going 2 over to 5, which actually is BEAF. So when 1 and 2 come together, you have beef. 1 and 2 and 5 and 6. 1 and 2, 5 and 6. Yeah, 1 and 2, 5 and 6 comes together, and this would be just 1 second. This would be they'd both be 7, so it'd be GG or 77. And like I spoke before, when you have 77, you have matter, you have Christ. This will create what is known as to be 11. How does this become 11? The mathematics, the word 11 is 63, 9, 11. So this is 63, but it gets reduced because if I remove all the repeating letters, it'll equal to 48. And it reverts back to our house we were born, the house of Pluto. Maybe that's why it appears and disappears. So the center of this is 3.5. The center of this is 3.5. When we add 2 through 5, it's 2 plus 1.5 equaling 3.5 plus 1.5 equaling to 5. Therefore, 15, okay? And I use that as Mars quarters. Mars quarters. If I had to go around this 4 times, then it counted as quarters. But numeric value for Mars is 51. So that's how I associate this, 1 and 2. So when 1 and 2 come together, I also understand that Earth and Mars come together, the third and fourth planet, through the difference of association of the core of the cube, this area over here. And it's brought back that 35, okay, 35 to 1 is the payout in roulette when you fall directly on a number. So when you come to number 3, which is the last one, 1 and 2 create 3, you only have 0.5, okay, equaling to 3.5 plus 0.5 equals to 4. And that's your only separation. Your separation is your sky pass. 55, 55. And I don't look at, here's a word. Mars. 1 for 1 divided 1 to 5. 5 and 1 is Mars, 5 and 2 is Earth. 1 and 2 is your creation inside of 5. You remember Herbie the car, right? Check Herbie the car out. Here's your freedom, 55, 25, and 10 equaling to 35. Herbie the car. This is the mathematics with 5. This is what happens to it. This can also be created by 7 times 5. So how are we supposed to look at that 7 times 5? Because there's different scenarios that happen if you use a multiplication, if you use an addition. I don't know all of them. I just know tons of equations in order to bring the alphabet closer together through the math, and the equations that come from what already exists, which you can already see. If you go to a baseball game, there's 9 innings. They've created the 7th inning stretch, and they sing about popcorn, hot dogs, and Coke in the 7th inning stretch, which means there's 6.5 innings played, which also said there's 21 and 18 outs, totaling 39. 21 is U, and 18 is R. And in the English language, U very often is supported by Q, as in with the word QU coming together, and that is number 38. And we're back to the club, we're back to the gold, we're back to the spirit pass, an empty space. When you bring 2 hearts together, we have empty space. Right over here, we have empty space. It's right here. And what I'm going to do, or we can say we have a parking lot, and the only way to park your car is to connect it. And here you just parked your car right over there on that side, but somebody else needs a parking spot. So they're going to park their car on this side, right over here. So now they parked. So this is where you see the 2 hearts coming together. And one of your first 8s, your block. Okay, so this is the center of the cube. This is also the payout in roulette. This is also the center of using the maximum numbers you can in French. The numbers in French are spoken not the same as English. You have première, deuxième, okay? And after that, after 1, everything's almost the same. Troisième, quatrième, cinquième, quatrième. You see the difference with some of the words is troisième. But here the T, okay, which is quatrième. It's almost talking about trième. It's almost talking about trier. It's almost like separation. I also know the difference between 7 and 6 in gematria is that 7, the 6 will take parts. See, I'm just going to show you. If I did 5, right? I did 7. This is 7 and 5. When I do 6 in gematria, it goes right over here. It's a connector. And it creates that passage all the way through. And this becomes your 5, 7, and 6. And when you create it on this side, and you put your 6 over here, the area just below 7, because 6 is the halfway, that means 8 is the halfway. So 66 will now be joined by 8. 8 will be over here. Okay, 7. And 9 will be over here. Did I do that right? Here's 7. Here's 8. No, this is wrong. Hold on a second. What happens is 9 is right over here. And what happens is here's your 5. Here's your 5. And when you look at your 5, you look at your 9, they're in the same row when you flip it over. And that's 5, and that's 9, and that's 9. And that's 7. I want to listen to my sound. I hope in the world my sound is working. Please tell me my sound is working. I hope in the world my sound is working. Thank God. Please tell me my sound is working. Okay, just give me a minute. I have to take this message. I don't think I'm gonna forget what's going on. I'm gonna have a little bit of water here. Just give me 1 minute. Okay, just give me 1 second. One second. Okay. Let me see where I am. Okay. Where am I? Right. So as I build this gematria ladder, and the reason I build it this way, is the pyramid style, is by obligation. And one of the obligations, the reason, so we have to know the artwork, you know, some of the artwork. You can see one thing, but I see something else, right? You see that guitar? This is the long neck of the guitar, long neck goose here. So this is one model of gematria. And here's a base model. So what we're doing is here, and then here, and then here. 1, 2, 3 areas. And then after the third area is 5, and then we have 7 over here. It's connected with 6 and 6. So when 6 and 6 connect next to each other, what you have is, I'm going to see if I can get my camera to I'm going to just give me a second. Yes, when you connect the 8 over here. When you connected you create the window, so the 8 goes right over here. So that's your basic. And so what you have is you have 6 and you have 8. So there is no lie in the design. And the gematria has set me up that way. that 1 is not like 2. There is no 1 dot. 2 is like 6. You see they got the 2 dots here? See, 2, right? 2 plays a role inside of 3, 4, 5, and 6. We have 2. So if I take this 2 out of each one of these, I end up with 1, 0, 1, 2. How so? Well, if I count these 2 here and these 2 here, I'm not talking about these 2 here, so I end up with 2. Here, I can take out the 4 corners because that's 2, but it's actually 2 and 2. There's a difference between not here, not here, here. Whether the 3 is up, okay, or whether the 2, 1, 5, or 6 is up. Because when the, let me see, when the, sorry, yeah, we'll use the 3. When the 3 is up, take a look at the 5, doesn't make a difference. 1 doesn't make a difference. 2 makes a difference. It's over to the right. But when the 3 is on its side, the 2 is to the left, the 3 is up, the 2 is to the right. So when 3 and 4 are up, we have the 2 in a power position, calling it the grave position. Only 2, 3, and 6 will do it, but not 1, 4, and 5 will not. The reason for that is because we don't know which way it is. We don't know which way it is. So when the 4 is on its side, we don't know. When the 4 is on its side, we don't know about 1 and 4, but we definitely know about 6 and 3. So we know right away that what's going to happen with this 2. Whichever way we turn the 2, if I turn it this way, the 3 goes up. So it no longer matters. It's all the ways, right? It's pointing to the right. It's pointing to the left. Now, if the 2 went this way, we already know it won't matter for the 1, but it matters for the 6 that's below, right? But nobody will know because it's below. So when the 1 up, you don't know what's happening, but you do know what's happening with the 2, and you do know what's happening to the 3. When the 3 is over to the right, the 2 is coming down. So these are different equations and little stories that are realities. So this is your equation with your gematria over here. We did the center of numbers through number 69. In French, the continuation with numbers, that in French, dixième, onzième, douzième, treizième, quatre. But when you get to 16, okay, sorry, when you get to 17, wow, it's getting late. When you get to 17, it's now 17. It's 17e. The other thing that's different in French is that when you say from 13 over to 16, in French, it's 13. It's just a word. Here it's size. When you reach 10, it's this. When you reach 11, it's 11. It's still a word, and then it's 12. You begin with the Z without the I, but once you get to 13 and 14, you have 14. So you have the Z without the I. Here you have it, sorry, without the I. Here you have it without the I. So this is a separation and understanding when how numbers separate. But when you get to 17, 18, and 19, it's really different. You have to say 10 in front of it. So it's like we go 10, and then we go backwards, 7, 8, 9. 10, 7, 8, 9. So now if we're looking at it that way, we have to understand that our number system in French is actually going 1 through 6, equaling to 21. It can equal to the 21 dots on the cube. Because number 7 is now used in a different category once it passes 10. So now the under category has to be switched because of this over category. Now I like to multiply everything to bring it to a new realm. 17 times 3. Then you're going to have 18 times 3 and 19 times 3. I like to say that 57 is a good number that 54 is a good number and 51 is a good number. And these are some of the words that go along with these numbers: 6, 9, and 3. In rotation of Mars and the Sun is creation through the Moon. Federation of Mars. Our acceptance for every single word that is spoken, for everything that we believe, it's in the aether. It's in the matrix. We were born into it. You don't have to believe me. The stories are in the math. Have you ever jump out of a plane flies, I parachuted. You can feel it. You go down so fast, you can feel it. It's not a car, it's a natural fall. You feel it on your face. You feel it in your body. The pressure. Why should there be any pressure if there was nothing there? If it was just a true void, blank, nothing there. But there is something there, and it stops you from falling in the right position. Although, yes, you're going faster and faster, and you're going 200 kilometers an hour, but you're being held back. Maybe the planet's moving too fast. Maybe the planet's moving too slow, but something's not right. And imagine if this was built, should we really, I don't know if I should get into the political form of creation, but I'm going to come back to the beginning, what I spoke about at the beginning. We were given choices and freedom, and this is the price we pay over time. And we only live through it for a certain period of time. No matter what you go through, your soul learns, your numbers learn. It's not that you stayed out of trouble. If you stayed out of trouble, did you learn? How did you figure out what is trouble? Stay out of trouble. I have to write that word down. Stay out of. Of is 66. Out is location and at the gateway, so it means at the door. Your stay is the position you are to the choice where you can be. The ST, when it comes together, it's first, it's last. Now it's first and it's last. But now, if you were going through the center of something, like the dart, you take the dart, you go into the center of the board, you hit the bullseye, but you had one dart. I'm just trying to figure out first and last. But just note that in first and last, it equals 22. 1 and 21, what is first and last? There's nothing else. After that, it's just a put together of 1 and 2. So I'm just going to just say it point blank. 21st is the first time in English that you're going to say first, since you said first the first time. And then you're going to say 31st, 41st, 51st, 61st, 71st. But again, 1771, it all changed because 81st in French is not like 71st. You will say 81. Normally in French, I'm going to do it here. Hold on, it's not the right... How do you say 51 in French? Do you see this here? Let me try and move my camera out of the way. See that? Let me do it again. How do you say 21, 31, 41, 51, 61, 71, 81, 91 in French? No. How do you say in French 21, 31, 41, 51, 61, 71, 81, 91? No. How do you say in French 61?
In French, you would say 61.
How do you say in French 71?
In French, you would say 71.
How would you say in French 81?
In French, you would say 80.
Do you see the difference? Take a look. I'm going to take this off. I'm going to cut it. Hopefully I can go back. Let's see what happens if I went back. Look, you see the ET? See the ET? You see? There's no ET. 81 in French is the only one with no ET. TY, ET, number 25, no Earth. 81 has no Earth. But 91, how do you say 91 in French?
In French, that's 80.
You see, in this one, you see, when you're in the 70s and 90s, how do you say 71 in French?
In French, you would say 71.
You see, 71. How do you say 91 in French?
In French, that's
You see,
80.
there is no ET in this. So, language, letters, the alphabet, dots and dashes are all done in consequence of what happened. When we document, when you make a diary, you make the diary for today, a programmation for tomorrow. But when tomorrow happens, you fill back in the diary what the results were. But you don't know the full results until over time. So things change, things are written down. And that is its own reality. If anybody has any questions, if there's something I did not finish, there's also 70s and 90s again, that on the telephone, they have 4 letters on both the 7, PQRS, and on the 9, WXYZ. So that's also different, where in French, they will say 11 as, instead of going 60 with 1, like 61, when it comes to 70, they'll say 11 and 60. So the same thing with 90, they'll say 11 and 11 and 80, and 80 is 4 times 20. So in reality, although we don't even pass 69, once you get to 90, 80 and 90 is 1/3 of what 60 is, and even less, because we don't say the same thing. When you get to the English language, it's 13, so things start to begin changing at 13, although they've changed at 1, 2, 3 because of first, second, and third, STNDRD, to where they change again for fourth into the TH house, in which they're 11th and 12th, and that's when it ends, 4 through 12. And it's the purple house. The reason it's the purple house is, for me, I'm just using this comparison. If you go to the game of pool, the 4 and 12 are purple, the stripes and the solids. So I'm in that. 1 and 2 equals to 3, 4 and 3, house of DC. So right away, it shows you the same thing as the cube, like I showed you before. It's the house of DC. 43 hot, 34 cold, 77 matter in Christ. When Christ is around, mass is around, and the center passage of Christ is mass. 33 is the numeric value. When you put that with 77, 7 and 3 creates 10 and 10. 100C for creation, or 1 and 0 is 1, 1 and 0 is 1, 11, or 1 and 1, 2 for creation, and the divided roadway. One, because there's 2 ways to look at this. Either 1 and 1 is 2, or 1 and 1 next to each other is 11. They're telling 2 stories. Because when you look at it this way, and you look at it this way, this is 12. These are barred numbers in the game of craps. The odds on these is a one-time roll. It's 30 to 1. Your creation is 30 to 1. Here's your creation. 1 times 1, 1 plus 1 equals to 2 and 1, 3 for creation. The reverse of that equation is now 5 and 6, and that's the student. Yo come 11. This entire cube is 7 come 11. I say the student because here in Quebec, and I use the French and the English, and I like Quebec because it said heads and tails. I use the French and the English when they're screaming out yo 11, which you're talking about 11. For me, it means student. In French, in the French language, 11 is a student. And it's ironic. It's ironic that the word 11 equals to 63. So 6 and 3 equals to 9. You now have 9 11. So you have the 9 birth of your creation. The mathematics will create this number. 3 and 9 equaling to what is 12. And it's ironic because 11 will still create 12, this numeric, these numbers. 12, 21, 6, 5, 5, 6, 7, 7, 7, 7. I base that off the cube. There's other ways to look at this. You can go 9, 8, 8, 9 if you're talking about 7 or you're talking about 9. Back to, like I said, there's 4 letters on the 7 and the 9. The 7 and the 9 in numbers, they go 60 plus 10 for 70. And then in 90, it's 4 by 20 plus 10 equaling to 90. It's the only time that when they say this over to this, right, that they're going to say size, irregardless of which one. Here it's going to be 4 times 20 plus 16. Here it's going to be 60 plus 16. But not in the 80s, so we're not going to count the 80s. But what happens now is that the 7 and the 9, they remove the Z and the Q, the 26th letter and the 17th letter. 2 plus 6 equals to 8. 1 plus 7 equals to 8. 26 and 17 equals to 43. And that's, again, the House of DC, and the gateway is your 88, which is the reverse roadway, 66. Where does that come from again? Back to the cube. The opposite of 8 is 42, your gateway electric company to 6. 6 and 8. Fox headquarters. Only because 888 is HQZ, and, well, 666 is Fox. So we got that under control. I think you understand this. So this here is when you go to the ATM, you're now going to see this. And then the full function star system math that I do creates 20 and 15 equaling to 35. Now, again, 35 equals to the heart. So they put the heart back into the center. I'm not going to go on. There's many little things that create stuff. We get the queen out of this. If I reverse this, I don't want to get into too many things. The letters that go with it is TO. Totals to 35, 35 to 1 payout. I'm trying to see where else we were. We were at gematria. Just 1 second. Let me see if I have to go back anywhere. Yeah, so again, somewhere deep back into the video, I was also talking about the cycle we run is the 741 cycle. The 7 months of 31 days, the dice cube, the pair of dice where the 7s are the opposite, to where we have 4 months of 30 days, the 30 days of creation, the 4th planet Mars, where we can also run the week in the 7-day period to a 3-1-3, because the touchdown has already happened in this position to the 2 field goals. House of DC again. So, I mean, because this is the way our week is broken up. The week is broken up with the Wednesday connecting the first 3 days with the next 3 days, but you cannot connect anything unless you hold the 2 pillars beside you, the 2 thieves that were hung up with Jesus. The 3 points are in between the pipes, as they call them. So what we do is we hold on to Tuesday and Thursday as the gateway. When we count T minus. When you go into gematria, T is 7, just like G is 7, and that is your gateway in your gematria alphabet as you go from A, C, E, G, and then you go, I think it's anyways, 1 through 7 and 7 through 1. And the reason I do it this way is because in gematria, the M and the N have a 1 and 1. So how can I continue this way without putting a 0 in a straight line? So my idea was to box up this way when I get to 7 and then box down this way. And that way, when I get to 1 and 1, I can just put them next to each other. That was more sane for me. And also because of the Mayan pyramids. Let me see where I am with this. Right. So what happens next? I'm not sure if you remember. I'm falling behind. So when we build this gematria tower, 7, 5, 3, 1. Five, 3, 1. So what happens in this area here, this area will be 9. This area will be 11. So we're going to take a check. If 1 and 2 equals to 3, then we need 11 to where 6 and 5 is 11. 5 and 5 to where 3 and 2 is 5, to where 5 and 4 is 9. E-I-E-I-O. Now we're going to go and connect. Where do we want to connect? Should I connect a cube over here? In between, what cube would be over here? 10. What cube would be over here? 8. So we'd have 8, 9, 10, 11. So 8, 9, 10, 11. The 8 will overlap the 7. Let me do it maybe this way. It'll be easier. Here's the 7. Here's the 9. This is what's left over from the 8. 8. Let's do it again. 7, 9, 11. Last row, 13. We're only going to have the same numbers. What numbers are going to be here, I don't know, but I know going up, these were the numbers. And by the way, it's the ace, and it's divided. And at the same time, the 19th letter, the 21st letter, and the 14th letter, 1, 3, 5, is S-U-N, sun. So this was number 7. This was number 9, 11, and 13. If we're going to collect 11 and 13, we're going to connect with number 12. If we're going to connect 9 and 11, so 11 and 13, we'll connect with 12. 9 and 11 will connect with 10. So here's 9 and 11. And up here, we're going to connect 7 and 9, connect with 8. So your birth connects into the heaven. Your birth comes into creation, 10. Your creation comes into the AC world, M, 1,000, 3 worlds. How am I supposed to really calculate? I have to build the equations, and I can't use 10, so how do we create 20? I have to understand this equation a little bit better. And this is the 3rd time today I came up with these 3. Creation in Venus, creation in the square, creation for the one spirit into the heavens, where we have 1 dot, where we have 1 cube surrounded by 8. And even the math works. If you have 1 times 5, it equals to 5. Now we went 4 plus 1 equals to 5. So now there's 8 missing. So we're going to do the same multiplier. 8 by 5 equals to 40. Equals to, I'm just trying to see, 1 plus 5, 1 plus 4 equals to 5. Hold on a second. Okay, this reduce it into 4. 8 by 5. Okay. That's right. 8 minus 4 equals to 4. So there was a difference of 4 in this one, and there's a difference of 4 in this one. Let's see if it works somewhere else. Let's do 2. 2 times 3 equals to 6. So the difference between 6 minus 2 equals to 4. So now we're going to do it with 7. 7 times 3 equals to 21 slash 3. 7 minus 3 equals to 4. Where is the 7 and 2? Well, there's 2, and there's 7 left over. So we can go into the next one. We're going to go with 3 and 6. So here's, I don't want to do 3 and 6. Let's do 5 because 3 and 6 repeats a lot. I can do 3 and 6. So I'm going to do 6 times, let's say, 3 equals to 18 equals to 9. So if I did 6, there's 3 left over. So I'm going to do 3 times 3 equals to 9. So the difference between, hold on, did I get this right? 3 times 6 equals to 18. 3 times 3 equals to 9. 3 minus 9 equals 6. 6 minus 9 equals 3. So they invert to each other. 369 is the only one that does it. It's different from any other number. They become perfect. If I divide any one of these numbers by 3, the only ones that will be perfect are these. But they will have an assimilation inside of this house. If I divide 1, 4, or 7, the remainder will be 3, 3, 3. If I divide this house by 3, the remainder will be 6, 6, 6 to each one of them. And then 1 and 2 would be 3, and then 1 and 2 would be 3 because it would be 1.33, 1.33, 0.33, and then 2.33 equals to 3.99, and then it would be 0.66, 1.66, 2.6. Well, we're going to go 666. That way it doesn't, you follow what I'm saying? So each one of these, 8, 9, 9, 3. So there's, you see the big difference between the two? 666 equals to 18 equals to, 4998. So we have right away, it shows mirror, and it shows mirror in the heavens, okay, into the heavens birth. 9 and 8, H and I into I and I. That's the only difference in between this. 3 and 4 is the house of DC. It's the mirror worlds. 3 and 9 to the mirror world, 4 and 9 when it all begins. 1 and 2 came into 3. So this one is your 12 or is your queen. And this one equals to your 13 and is your king. But really and truthfully, the queen and the king, the bar mitzvah and the bat mitzvah. What some people know, what is online, what you read is not the actual direct explanation. Because when you reach your first birthday, that first year is done. When you reach your 10th birthday, it's because what? The first 10 years were done. When you reach the age of 12, when you're 12 years old, your 12 years are done. So the day of your bat mitzvah, you are actually in your 13th year. You have gone into the new cyclone, into the new cube, into the new moons, the new packages of moons. There's only 21 on here, packages of moons. So we keep changing. So once you finish your 12th year, right, would you be changing a package of moons? When it's 13, there are 169 moons. So we have 7 by 21 equals 147. Think of that, eh? 7 by 21 equals 147, which I have to, there's a reason for that. Wow, let me just think of this again. 7 by 21. 156. 156 divided by 12 is 13. 12 by 13 equals 156. So 156 is 7 cubes plus 9. The remainder of 9, the gateway, and the remainder of your birth when the 12th year ends. The male is 13 by 13, 169. It creates a gateway. It's also connected to the moon, and it's a single syllable. The female is a double syllable. The woman is a double syllable. Girl and boy is a little bit different. I think they're talking about the moon of Earth and the 2 moons of Mars. And if you're having demons and phobias, well, don't go any further, because the moons of Mars are called Phobos and Deimos. P and D. I'm not sure where to go next. There was a lot of things on the agenda. So yes, so the woman, Bat Mitzvah, is in the 13th year, M, 1000. And the male is in the 14th year. The female representing the moon and the male representing the sun in this scenario. Prior to that, the male was representing the moon, and the females was representing the transformation. Because of what the math does, 1 times 2, 1 plus 2 creates 2 and 3, and that numeric value fits into where Mars is. We can say Mar, Mara. We're using the S plural, but the letters of MAR association, if you look up in the dictionary, all the words that go with it, even Vilmarsala, it's only a piece and part of a word, because when I see the letter S, I know it's an add-on. I know sometimes we add on with ES. I also know S is the 19th letter, in which the black ball 8 is the reverse alphabet of what S is. 8 and 19 equals 27. All reverse alphabets are 27. The house of Bait. Actually, it's the gateway in the house of Bait. And it also shows it to you here. By removing these 2, you have 7 left, and it will create and form an 8, in which, as I showed you prior, that we live in the house of 88, purple rain. And this is what happens when you put 2 hearts together. 88. Also, the bicycle cards show you 88, which is the revert of 66, 33, and 11. Well, because if I show you 1, I'll show you the center one, there's 8 around it, 1 and 8. If I show you the 3 down here, you have 3 here, and you have 3 here, the 6. The dice cubes show you that the invert to 6 and 2 is 5 and 1 Mars, so the queen is the reflection. So if you go 51, 15, 62, 26, that is 88 and 66. That is your gateway. Words with 88 is Pegasus. Words with 88 is purple. Just to note that when we had our hot and cold water, which is matter and Christ, we also created what is purple, because hot and cold is both blue and red. And when you mix them up, you get 88 purple to what is 67 blue and red. The difference is 21, perhaps the dots on the cube. The total cube area space, as this cube over here, is a total possible dots and area space for color of 54, which means there are 21 dots and there are 33 voided areas, the creation of the sun of the electronic world. 333. The pig's pregnancy is 333, and everything you do about 3 will come back and just fit into 1, 4, and 7 times 3. 2, 5, and 8 times 3. 3, 6, and 9 times 3. It's the only alphabet letters. These are the only 2 in their own house, and they revert to each other. None of the others do that. These do. 36 reverts back to each other. Very special, 3, 6, and 9. This becomes 999. This becomes 666. This becomes 333, adding up to a single digit. We have the clue. We have the fox. We have the foxier. And this is the house of bait. The reverse to this is going to be the 6, and the total is going to be the 9. 3 and 6 equals 9. 3 and 6 equals 9, so everything comes back into this one, into the higher house. Anyways, if you have any questions, ask me some questions. If you've never been here before, this is basically what the up looks like. And it goes into the rooms. Here's the, let me see, Pink Floyd, another brick on the wall, which actually says High 52. Each one of those bricks has something different painted in them. T-ball. You put the ball up. This is what life is all about. We have the complete freedom to put the ball up, and you have to go for it. But we gave up our freedom for monetary things. The monorail. The other part is down over here.
21. Now, the minus 21 to any 21, you have what they call reset, and it's not nothing, because if I were to multiply it by 6, you would see that this is 40, and this is the connection to the sun and our axis. If we multiply that by 2, this is 25,000 times 20, which is one of the long line cells, first and first line. So yeah, actually, what it's like, I mean, I see stuff out there, no questions, so wait for a couple hours. And I don't know if I'm on I don't know if I'm on Facebook. I don't even like to say that. Anyway, social media, you gotta do what the word is wrong. And I kind of put this stuff on this. I still don't have to comment on it. I'm still feeling crazy. Talking about stuff comes up. A couple of other things I've done. So this is the new system. Okay, 713. Taking off the blue with the mylan. This is these stuff, you know, numbers, numbers, 5, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9. I think if I remember, this is a modern coordination, not an earth. 4 separate coordinates. Um, two others. You want to go from one kind of a flex. Okay, I'm not going to do that anymore. Maybe not. Oh, dividing the house. Okay, you want to send me some hands or something? I like to write either the master, 1.6. They run out really quick, or not to be calculated. Another some exercise, the bigger one that can help them to make them feel good. So yeah, this is the task, or if you want to send me some whiteout. I still have 100 books, so that's a good one. I'm working on to run out to the future. What else? I don't know. I don't know if you want to have up and down, I can say I can sit on my knees more often and walk around and use my brain to figure out more numeric calculations, more equations, at least it's hopefully one day put all our money